Time's up. Admiral.
Here it comes.
Hello, everybody. There's still no special intro for this show. I don't know if there ever will be. It's just we start and we go. Hi, Sam. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad. I noticed that Devil took off. He skedaddled when he found out he couldn't have any of the souls in my briefcase.
Well, he thinks he's has some sort of like, I guess, corner on souls and soul dealings, but
Yeah.
you're an Eldritch God.
Yeah. We use them to play quarters.
See, fortunately, my soul is so damaged, neither of you want it. What do you mean we took over your and I'm gonna assume that's anime music, Frank. I didn't take any over any anime music.
I'm not sure what that means.
I don't know what he's talking about either. I mean, we did talk anime on Double D's this afternoon because Fernandez T sent a tip in asking for suggestions. Well, first he said a tip in, then he said, okay. That gets you a question. It's like, well, what should I watch next for anime? So we went down that rabbit hole.
Oh, I got that handled, man. Anybody wants to know what to watch for anime, I'm the guy you come to. I am definitely that dude. Because I'm super knowledgeable about anime.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. You're knowledgeable about like crazy ass B movies. That's what you're knowledgeable about.
That's also true. But now I would probably do something awful like point him in the direction of Akira or Grave of the Fireflies.
I mean, Akira is old school. There's nothing wrong with Akira. Although, if everyone's going to Akira, you need to read the manga instead. It tells the story better than the anime does.
I disagree. I think the very fact that they left half the fucking story out of the movie adds to its appeal because it's especially the what the fuck appeal.
Well, I see. That's the point for me. It's like I don't understand what's going on. So when I read the manga once briefly, I didn't commit it much to memory, but I realized, okay, this makes more sense. I remember realizing this makes more sense now than it did when I watched the anime, which while groundbreaking and a piece of seminal work, it's one of those things where I will say I feel like the source material is better than the adaptation.
Yeah. Well, I also think in terms of just technical prowess and like what they achieved with Akira, there are things going on in that animated movie that even American animation, which uses a much higher frame rate, couldn't do at the time, and a lot of things still haven't. Anime's still not touching what they did with light sources. I mean, it's a very, very technically impressive movie.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, without a doubt. Well, that's it. You think about it like this though. With the advent of digital animation, CGI animation, some things have been lost.
Oh yeah,
some things
100%.
are not as impressive. Sometimes things can still be beautiful, but when they then try to merge like CGI 3D with what looks like still hand drawn animation, it's the uncanny valley sucks.
You know where I knew it was all downhill after that? So I was a big fan of Don Bluth growing up. Right? Loved his movies. I still love most of his movies because they're first of all animating masterpieces, like good stories. They're not Disney, although to be fair, Disney had a lot of great stuff before they went crazy too.
Yeah.
But Titan AE. Titan AE, which is still a very good movie, but that's when they first I was first exposed to the idea of blending traditional hand-drawn animation with computer-generated stuff with like 3D imaging kind of thing. And then Disney followed suit, I think, shortly after that, or right before with Treasure Planet, I think.
Let me look at the dates on that real quick.
Also very good, by the way. Right. Treasure Planet was great, but
Titan AE is 2000. Treasure Planet is 2002. So yeah, you had it right there.
Yeah,
you had it right. There's something. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like most of today's animation. I think it's glorious in terms of Eastern animation. Western animation's gone to complete shit.
Oh yeah, Western animation went to shit when If I'm
I
being
could tell you the
perfectly
year.
blunt, it
I could tell you the
started in
year.
the 90s with Ren and Stimpy.
That's a fair point. But see, that was still niche and it was okay. There were still lots of animated stuff that was taking it seriously. All the way up until things were still going well legitimately through the 2000s. It's when I could tell you the year, in my opinion, where it fell apart. It's 2010, 2011. And Cartoon Network, which is generally at this point the center of American animation at this point. Everything is centralized there, at least for 18 hours of the day before Toonami and Adult Swim. And then Adult Swim became more American animation than anime. Um, they had that the last great animated thing on Cartoon Network was the Thundercats reboot, which was beautifully animated, uh complete retelling of the story, and it was great. Then they canceled it. And that was around the time where, now I didn't hate it at the time. By the end it fell off. Adventure Time was gaining steam as being super popular. And I enjoyed Adventure Time for what it was for the most part for a lot of years. But then at the same time, the real kiss of death, fucking Steven Universe.
Oh, dude. Steven Universe also rang the ideological death
Yep.
knell of children's television.
Yep, you're right.
I would say that it certainly rang it harder anyway. Personally, I think Adventure Time and some of the other stuff around that time was probably just as bad but overlooked.
Adventure Time in the beginning was fine. It was about halfway through where they started leaning that way and feeding to what was still Tumblr bullshit at the time.
Sure. But the animation has always sucked for that show.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, it was
horrendous.
Oh, well, it was horrendous, but but at the time it was still in its corner. It's like, okay, this is goofy shit. It's not much, but then everything became like that. And I don't blame Adventure Time. I blame Steven Universe because they put a lot behind that thing because of its agenda and the crazy bitch behind it who got a deal for something a week or so ago. She's making more crazy shit now.
Yeah. And there have been a couple of gems storytelling wise since then, but they've still fallen into that shitty animation trap. Like, did you ever see Gravity Falls?
No, I did not. I chose not to watch that.
Its animation is fucking disgusting. It really is. Yeah. It's kind of hideous to look at. The characters in the stories are a lot of fucking fun, man. It's pretty good, but the animation is terrible.
You know who still had it at that period of time and still does it now too? I mean, Tartakovsky. He can. People need to. They need to go back to that man. That man is a brilliant artist and a brilliant animator. I mean, I don't know. I think we did it on. Yeah, we did it on Ballbusters. I think a month ago. I found a clip of something he recently released called Black Knight. And it was just a 2-minute clip, basically a teaser of what he is hoping somebody will pick up for, and it was incredible. Yeah, it was now totally CGI animation, but it was still his style.
Sure,
glorious. It was glorious.
Yeah.
So the greats are still out there, but they've been overlooked because Tartakovsky didn't do ideology. He just did great action and animation and fun. So he got pushed aside. And so I would say really the Steven Universe, that was the end of American animation as we used to know, a complete end. Because ever since then, I haven't seen anything legitimately made for American cartoons or anything like that for kids or anything. Sure.
I'd agree with that. I think it was already on the way down, but that was definitely the nail in the coffin. As it were. Because like there was still some stuff that was coming out that was pretty solid in the mid 2000s and whatnot. Like Avatar: The Last Airbender, beautifully animated. Now animated by Koreans, but for an American audience. Beautifully animated. I mean, honestly, the animation style in that reminds me very much of what they did with certain older Disney movies, like Lady and the Tramp, right? Which Lady and the Tramp is taught in art schools as to exactly what you should be doing.
Really?
Yeah, well, they studied dogs
Mm.
obsessively before they animated anything in that. If you actually pay attention, all of those dogs are moving in ways that dogs move.
See, I'm
It's
not a as not a
gorgeously
dog person,
animated,
I wouldn't know that. I would not
and
know
it came
that.
out in the fucking 40s,
Well, they cared back then
you
because
know?
because Walt Disney cared. He gave a
Yeah.
shit.
But anatomically, it is one of the most beautiful things you'll ever see.
Mm. I mean, early 2000s stuff like the He-Man reboot was glorious. That was incredible. I loved that. I wish they hadn't canceled that. That was the beginning of Cartoon Network canceling things
Mhm.
before they should have been canceled.
If I'm
The
being perfectly honest with you, I was watching a little bit on Adult Swim at the time. I wasn't watching a lot of mainstream cartoons or anything at that time.
Mhm.
Um, there were like Avatar was something that was introduced to me by my brother on DVD 3 years
Oh, I watched it on
it aired.
Nickelodeon as it aired.
See, I
I
didn't
was
see that.
yeah.
I watched Invader Zim, but again on VHS tape recordings. I didn't see it on when it aired either. Um, which also, by the way, hideously animated show, very fun,
Yes.
but hideous.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is mind-boggling how upsetting the animation is in that show. Difference is though, it wasn't for lack of talent or because they were just fucking lazy. They were intentionally trying to upset your senses.
Mhm.
Like they did that shit on purpose.
I think one could say part of the reason it died is because when Saturday morning cartoons died.
Sure. Yeah, I'll give you that. Saturday morning cartoons went out, and then afternoon weekday cartoons were followed right after that.
Mhm.
And you pretty much had one place you could go for it, which was at the time Cartoon Network. Later
Yeah.
on, Disney started redoing some things. I mean, they used to just have the one channel, right? And they would show like really old Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and Goofy cartoons and shit like that. Um, and I grew up watching those, right? So I
Yeah,
had no
so did I.
problem with like my kids watching them or anything.
Yeah.
But right around the time you were talking about with Steven Universe, they started making new Mickey
Yeah, I know
Mouse
what you're talking about.
cartoons.
I know what you're talking
And
about. They're horrendous.
like, if I have to see fucking fruit flies coming out of Goofy's fucking belly button one more goddamn time, man,
Oh
that
god.
holy shit, that was an ugly fucking cartoon.
Yeah. I mean, and there was a brief moment where it was 2016. It was
Mm,
2016, 2017, where yeah, I thought, and this before we knew that Disney was complete evil. I mean,
mhm.
yeah, I knew that I was so pissed at Star Wars, but we didn't know how evil they were at the time yet. When they redid DuckTales and they got David Tennant to be the voice of Scrooge. The first two seasons were incredibly fun.
I kinda loved the reboot of Duck. The
I lo-
square duckbills bothered me the entire time, but otherwise,
I
I
loved it.
actually really loved that
I
show. That was a
laughed
great
a
show.
lot, but then towards the very end, agenda started creeping in, and the very last season, I dipped out. I right after they saved Huey, Dewey, and Louie's mom from the moon, I dipped out. I was like, you know what, this is getting fucked up. I can't do this now. I feel the gay coming on. I feel this
Yeah.
shit, and I dipped out. And I don't even know how it ended. I don't know
It
how it ended
it
at all.
didn't I watched the whole thing. I don't recall it getting super gay. What I do recall is that there was a bunch of unanswered questions as to where the fuck she'd been all this time, why she didn't try to get home,
Oh
right?
no, she
And
was on
why
the
she
moon.
felt like she had. Yeah, I know.
Oh,
That's what I'm saying. It was like
okay,
by the time
okay.
she got back, it was still there was a bunch of like pathos shit involving the boys, like, you know, we didn't know you were on the moon. We thought you abandoned us to Uncle Donald, and he's been the one here taking care of us and all that shit. And she still just comes in and tries to push her brother out of their lives. Right? That shit was
Really?
I didn't care for that. But
That's pretty agenda. I
yeah.
call that. That sounds like agenda to me.
But it wasn't gay. It was just like, oh, because
Well,
I'm the mom, I get to come in and say whatever I want, even if I'm the fucking bad guy here, which
I
she
thought there
was.
was. I thought there was Geisha coming in with Webby and her friend, who was the simulacrum of Magica, and I thought there was Geisha coming in there. And I know that there was some other weird shit going on, and I saw it coming. I was like, and I felt it, and they started talking about it in interviews. And I thought, you know what, I'm done.
See,
I,
I think that the interviews probably blew that out of proportion because the actual
mm,
storyline is about friendship.
okay, yeah. I mean, I was enjoying so much. Maybe I'll go back and finish it at some
Yeah.
point. But
So I mean, yeah, they're pretty close, and I could see how a lefty writer would say, "Oh, you see, this symbolizes they're gay." It's like, but a normal person looking at that just sees a close friendship, in my opinion.
well, I thought those first couple seasons were a brilliant remake.
Yeah.
They were a
Oh,
lot of
dude, what
fun.
they did with Darkwing Duck and Negaduck, man,
That was
holy
so cool.
shit!
You see, I was saying that they needed to
With Jim
spin off
Cummings, yeah.
they needed to spin off a Darkwing Duck cartoon from that. They needed to
Ah,
spin off all the cartoons. The other
I
ones.
gotta I need to know what happens to him. He runs off into the sewer cackling like a madman with a chainsaw.
I mean, I thought they were going to reboot Darkwing Duck,
Yeah.
and I thought they were going to. I thought. Here's the thing. To me, I thought with the beginning of this DuckTales thing, which clearly they didn't, because here we are, nearly 10 years later now, and nothing. That was it. DuckTales was it. I thought they were going to reboot Darkwing Duck because
Yeah.
they brought in Gizmo Duck. They had Launchpad
Mhm.
there. They were set up Nega Duck, all that good stuff. I thought they were going to reboot Tailspin. I thought they were going to reboot Chip and Dale. I thought they were going to reboot the whole Animorph animum. What's the term? Shit, I just forgot it.
Disney.
Anthropomorphized universe.
Yeah,
I thought they
Disney
were going.
Afternoon.
Exactly. I thought they were going to reboot the entire Disney Afternoon one by one and do several seasons of each one, but they
I
didn't. That would
I
have
could
been.
see them doing
That would
that
have been
with
a.
a few shows.
They could do it with just the original four. Well, not the original four, but those four.
Yeah, the original one
DuckTales,
was Gummy Bears.
Gummy Bears was the first one, yeah.
Mhm.
But that's its own universe. I'm talking that essentially all those things like DuckTales, Tailspin, not Chip and Dale, but Darkwing Duck. Those are all Duckwing's Tailspin and Darkwing Duck. They were all in the same world,
Mhm.
so you could have rebooted those three, and then for
Sure.
shits and giggles, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, because that was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, sure, sure. See, and I didn't really like DuckTales the first time around back in the 90s.
Uh,
Um, it was not something I got into, and the only reason I even became tangentially aware of it is because Darkwing Duck blew my fucking mind, and some of the
mhm.
characters are from DuckTales.
Oh, all of them are from all of them from DuckTales. I mean, Launchpad. He leaves the main
Launchpad,
cast to be his sidekick.
Gizmo Duck,
That,
but it also had its own flavor and it had its own
oh yeah,
characters,
oh
and
yeah.
like the two-part opener, right, involving when Darkwing first meets Goslin and
Hmm.
her father or grandfather, anyways, the one who was Taurus Bulba's after, right, and she ends up being an orphan. I mean, there was some hardcore shit in that episode,
Hmm.
and it was really, really good. Taurus Bulba is a fantastic fucking villain, by the way. Uh, you know, and they
Well,
did some fun stuff with that. And then they invented like the greatest. I put out a couple of posts last year, man, on Twitter talking about how we need to get back to a certain time, because it's not just Disney. It's not just it's the entire
mm,
entertainment industry, and it's their entire, like, oh, everything's got to be nuanced kind of shit. No, I disagree. I think we need a return to unapologetic villainy. I think Negaduck needs to make a comeback.
villains need to be villains. You're absolutely right.
You
I mean,
know,
dude, the Disney Afternoon to me, that's peak Disney. That's peak. That's Renaissance Disney. That's peak Disney. I mean, that guy just Let's Get Dangerous. I love
Mhm.
it. I love it. I love it. I was like I said though, I was so excited with this. I thought we're gonna, and then when because I thought they brought in Darkwing Duck, I'm like, oh shit, they're gonna do it. They're gonna fucking do it. They just created Negaduck. This is great.
Mhm.
And then nothing.
Yeah, not only did they create Negaduck, but they gave him a hell of a twist on his backstory.
Hmm.
Because originally, remember, he was just like split with a laser beam from Darkwing, from like good half to bad half, and then later on he comes back, even though he shouldn't have, because they got put back together um, as a denizen, and not just denizen, but ruler of an entire parallel universe, kind of thing. And he was kind of all over the place in terms of like origin and story and all that stuff. Sort of messy. This kind of makes sense that the original guy who played Drake Mallard, aka Darkwing Duck, was pushed out for the reboot, and he lost his fucking mind over it.
Hmm. It
Like,
works.
yeah.
It really works. And I see, this is like you're thinking about. We're thinking about this. This is the what if path. If Disney hadn't lost their mind to agenda
Mhm.
and stayed the course with stuff like this, it could have rebooted Renaissance Disney in a fantastic way. If it
Yeah.
had not been had any poison in it or or anything like that agenda. It would have been fantastic, and that would have been a whole new era of a modernized version. And when I say modernized, just like with uh, modern aesthetics to it, cell phones and stuff like that, to cars and everything. Today's technology, today's world as it exists, not the '90s, which is a drastically different world in terms of communication and ability to do stuff. And it was exciting to think about it, and I haven't thought about that particular loss now in a while, where we came so close to something like that. But now, of course, you step back and with hindsight realize that Disney wanted no part of making anything like that. They weren't going to.
Well, and that was because there was a whole push, like there was for Firefly, like there was for Star Trek, the original series back in the day. There was a huge fan driven push, and a lot of the creators were right alongside them trying to get another season of to finish the story with the Duckwing or the Duckwing, the DuckTales reboot. Yeah. And ultimately it came down to the execs saying, no, we don't want to waste our time on this.
Well, you know what the problem is though? Now of course Disney Plus wasn't a thing yet. It was still Disney Channel. Terrestrial television was already dying, was the problem. Yeah. And nobody was watching.
I think this was on Disney XD actually.
Well, that's still terrestrial television. That's cable. That's even worse. That's even worse. I mean, Disney XD had a horrible reputation at that point of just slop. And it's a shame. Now, I don't think it would have done any better if Disney Plus had been in existence yet, because it still would have gotten ignored, because Disney Plus is one of the worst subscriber counts of all the streamers. But it failed not only because I agree they didn't give it a chance. It had its fan base and they were just stupid executives, but how everybody was watching, for lack of a better term, television was already changing in 2016, 2017. Terrestrial television was dying. So where it could have gone to be successful, I don't know. Actually, you know what they should have done? They should have licensed it out to somebody that's already successful in streaming at that time. If they thought that, it would have been easy. Oh man,
I miss good stuff.
I miss good stuff too.
Like when you said though, like reboot the whole Disney afternoon, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, well, Bonkers was kind of stupid. And I don't think there's any way to reboot Gargoyles without destroying it entirely.
Oh, okay. When I say Disney afternoon, I don't mean everything.
Right. That's where first I was just like, he can't seriously mean everything. Right?
No.
That shit is untouchable. And some of it needs to stay buried.
I meant like the core Disney stuff. I meant DuckTales, Tailspin, Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers, Darkwing Duck. In that universe, because you don't want. Okay, Gummy Bears doesn't necessarily need a reboot, but it could still be fun. You don't touch Aladdin because Aladdin was complete. It finished. It has
Aladdin was a damn good cartoon, actually.
Because the Order of Aladdin is fantastic. I got the original movie. Now, Return of Jafar is shit. That is complete dog shit. It's terrible. I've rewatched it recently enough. Then you begin the animated series. The first 2 seasons. Well, actually, here's a problem. There's 3 seasons. And the first 2 seasons were aired on Fox and on Disney Afternoon. They split up that. But the 3rd season, for some reason, got aired on CBS Saturday morning cartoons for some weird ass fucking reason. And those 13 to 20 episodes are they take place at a certain point before the 2nd season. So there's a watch order to this that I tried to do, and I fucked it up last time I tried to do it. I have it all stored someplace, because you can't find that shit on physical media anywhere. I have it. But you watch it all if you watch it properly in order. And that talk about growing an IP, Aladdin. And finding a perfect mimic for Robin Williams, the guy who mimicked him for the Return to Jafar through the series, because Robin Williams came back for King of Thieves. Right. He came back for that. But you watch it all. Great expansion of new villains, new stories, great character interaction, Gilbert Godfrey as Iago is a fucking gem
Yeah, and I think he's Iago pretty much
the whole
in
time.
everything. Yeah.
Everything. It was always Gilbert Godfrey as Iago. Always. And it's glorious. It's glorious. And you go through the whole thing, and and it only takes place over like a 1 to 2 year period in terms of the timeline. Because then you get to King of Thieves, which is a fantastic movie. That movie is an underrated movie. People don't give that movie enough credit because it was released straight to video at the time.
I don't think I ever actually even watched it.
Oh, you should watch it. The songs are great. The story is fantastic, and it's an ending. It's an ending because it's their wedding. Their wedding is here.
Right.
Jasmine's of age. Aladdin has passed all his tests as her suitor at this point. He stayed the course. Then, of course, more shit happens, and I don't want to spoil it because you haven't seen it. But it's a great movie. I enjoy it thoroughly, and it's got the song, and it still was made when they could make good new songs. And of course, Robin Williams returns as Genie.
Yeah,
and that just makes it great. And it's a lot of fun, and you get a perfect ending. You get a real happy ending that is earned through an entire story. So Aladdin is a complete series from beginning to end. And I mean, Aladdin, I would say, is my favorite Renaissance Disney movie. It's my favorite one because of Robin Williams.
I honestly, while Robin Williams really made that movie, he did. I would say that, like, in terms of voice acting, like I couldn't pick out a single bad casting in that movie.
Oh no, of course not. Of course not. No.
They were all fantastic.
Oh yeah, I mean that right there. I mean, what year was that? Let me see.
It's 1990.
I believe it's 92. I believe it's 92. Aladdin 92. Yes, 92. It was, I think, the third film. First one is Little Mermaid. That's the beginning of the Renaissance Disney.
Yeah, unfortunately.
All right, let me bring up the.
I really hate that movie.
Yeah. I like it.
Why? It's so fucking stupid, man.
It's Disneyfication. I know it's Disneyfication.
Well, not only that, but the original story is also fucking stupid. Like in the end, she ends up, like, in this one, she figures out a way because Eric saves the day and fucking kills Ursula or whatever, and she gets her voice and magical happy ending and all that stuff. In the original one, she just fucking kills herself.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong.
But in either way, like, I don't know. I don't like Ariel as a character. I was pretty much on board with well, no, I didn't like anybody in those movies. The only scene in The Little Mermaid that I like is when Sebastian is in the French cook's kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And the French cook starts trying to cook him and starts singing this song called Les Poissons, which is the only time you'll hear me praise the fucking French outside of Brotherhood of the Wolf. Les Poissons, Les Poissons. I love that fucking scene. It's fantastic. But otherwise, no, fuck that whole movie.
I like it. It has. I was supposed to place my heart for it, but then again, when it came out, I was in grade school, and every girl was doing the Ariel singing thing for weeks. They were doing it.
I know.
And that got maddening. They would have contests to see who could hold the pitch, and we're talking little girls who still had like little girl singing voices.
Oh, I had a little sister, dude. I know.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So so Little Mermaid started it in 1989. Then and I hear there are a couple in here that I didn't realize were a part of it. I didn't know that the second Rescuers movie, Rescuers Down Under, is considered Renaissance Disney in 1990. That's forgotten because nobody remembers that movie.
I disagree. I remember that movie because there's a scene where they go past the high rise and there is a woman's tits in one of the windows.
Well, you, sir, are a savant. You remember that. See, I saw it, but it didn't stick. I never considered it Renaissance Disney, but it is because it's in the era. Then, of course, Beauty and the Beast, which was a masterpiece.
That was good.
It's a masterpiece. Again, I did a Renaissance Disney-a-thon, not this year, but last year. I rewatched just about everything, minus a couple on this list because they are A, not my favorites, or B, I watched them enough as a kid. I can't watch them anymore. But I did Beauty and the Beast, fantastic. Some of the most classic songs. Then, of course, 92, you have Aladdin. And then you have what is probably the most successful of all of Renaissance Disney, The Lion King.
Oh yeah.
I mean, of course it's Renaissance Disney, but I've always separated it as part of Renaissance Disney because it's its own thing.
Yeah, it kind of carved out a little niche all on its own.
Yeah. Yeah. And I owned that. I had that on. I had that. It was the last Disney VHS I ever bought, and they still came in the big plastic VHS boxes. You know, the ones that you could use as a weapon on another kid if you really wanted to. Those things.
Yeah, you know what's fun about that is years and years later, my own kids are watching this stuff, right?
Mhm.
And my oldest was in high school, and she was just like, she's like, I don't know why I have to learn all this old stuff. You know, she was referring to Bill Shakespeare,
Mhm.
and all that. And I was just like, well, you already know some of it. I was, well, what do you mean? I was like, you remember The Lion King? She's like, oh yeah, you like that story? You know, all
Mhm.
the twists and turns and whatnot. She's like, yeah. I was like, that's fucking Hamlet.
Yep. Yep.
The Lion King is Hamlet. You already know some Shakespeare.
Yep.
Trust me, there's stuff in there that you're gonna like.
And Hamlet is my favorite Shakespeare. That's my favorite play from Shakespeare. It's my
It's
favorite.
up there for me. My actual favorite is probably Macbeth.
The Macbeth is my second favorite. After that, I
Because
like Macbeth.
everybody goes crazy and there's a lot of death.
Well, there's so much betrayal in that one and so much evil. And also because of gargoyles.
Yeah. You know, I never really felt great about his inclusion in that. I
But
got
it's still
weird about all
fucking
the
cool.
fucking Arthurian legend fucking
Oh,
inclusion too. But
yeah, gargoyles got very messy with fictional lore and stuff like that.
that
But
third season is kind of batshit insane.
are you talking the third original season or the final season that aired on ABC Saturday morning cartoons?
It's the one where they went on the journey.
Okay, that's original third season. Yeah, okay. And
Yeah.
then the following one, the one, then they had one more season on ABC to tie it all together, which
They're
had a
like, oh.
fantastic ending of Puck versus Oberon as the
Yeah.
final battle. That was cool.
More Shakespeare, by the way, folks.
Yep.
The Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yep.
But no, it's just it kind of started losing me when they started bringing in shit from other fucking IPs, and it was just I just felt like it just got really messy when it wasn't like their core story of standing against David Xanatos in New York City. I thought was fucking peak television,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And when they got away from that, I get what they were trying to do. They didn't want to be the last of their kind. I understand that, and they go on that whole journey to find gargoyles in other places and all that shit. But I'm also just like Demona was alive for 1,000 fucking years. You're telling me she never ran into anybody else ever? Really?
I want to put a pin in that conversation. We could do a whole hour on gargoyles. We really
Right.
could.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'd have to rewatch it though. I really would. It's been a while. It's been a long while. All right. So then we had. All right. Now this is one of the ones that I personally don't like. I don't like Pocahontas. Although back in the day we made fun of it, Pocahontas with the double D's.
It's really bland.
Yeah.
Like it's a very bland movie. It's not very memorable. Like you know, like I remember her face, right? But I couldn't tell you what any of the other characters look like. And I remember some of the animation from that Colors in the Wind scene. But otherwise, yeah, the movie is really bland and unmemorable.
Mm-hmm.
And it won fucking awards for that music.
Did? Really did? I don't remember that. All I remember is that we were all amazed at as teenagers, like, wow, she's got big tits.
I think I view that one in the same way that I view later on the movie Brave, right?
Mm-hmm.
Brave is really beautifully animated, you know, with CG. Like some of the shit they were able to do was really groundbreaking, and that's awesome. The story sucks. The characters are two-dimensional as shit, and it's completely fucking unmemorable.
I watched it once, and I could barely tell you about it at this point.
Yeah, because it's got no substance to it. It was all about, look at what we can do with our CGI technology. They didn't actually put together a story worth listening to. And the same thing happened with Pocahontas 20 fucking years before.
All right, now the next one, I'll be called a blasphemer for saying this. Not a fan of Hunchback of Notre Dame either. Not a fan of that one.
I have things I like about that movie, and I have things that I really hate about that movie.
It drives me crazy for reasons I don't know.
Yeah,
people love it, but I don't.
The singing gargoyles was annoying. The fact that Judge Rollo basically jerked off to a fireplace was pretty messed up. And the ending is completely fucking wrong and sanitized.
Yeah, yeah. But
There are a couple of good jokes though.
It's very, very Disney-fied, with Quasimodo being so happy.
I went to see it in the theater, and I was the only adult man in the theater. There were a bunch of little kids and a bunch of moms, right? And it's like middle of the afternoon on a Thursday or some shit. But so I went to see it in the theater, and there's a part where so Captain Phoebus, his horse is named Achilles, right? And there's this dude just being just a general pain in the ass, and so Phoebus goes, Achilles, sit. So the horse sits on the dude, right? And I'm just like, oh, well, he's dead. And then he starts walking away. And he says this line that made me burst out laughing. And I was the only one in the theater who got the joke. He says, Achilles, heel. And it was one of the most brilliant, like, mythological callback jokes I have ever heard. And nobody got the joke in the theater but me.
That's because you know mythology.
Yeah.
And speaking of mythology, the next one, it's not a bad movie, but I despise it because Hercules butchers the Herculean mythology. It's just a piss painting all over the place, and I despise it. But everybody else loves it.
He doesn't even meet Nessus in the myths until right before he dies. You know,
it's just Hades isn't a villain. I mean, it's training to be a hero.
Well, I can tell you why they did that. I can tell you why they did that. Why they did the whole, Hades being the villain thing. It's because Hades has always kind of had that stigma about him, despite the fact that he is the only one of the gods who's not a complete piece of shit. It's frankly because they didn't want Hera going in to murder her husband's son. It was ideologically driven. They were like, no, we got to get away from Hera's an evil bitch, because
Hera is an evil bitch.
Well, yes and no. I mean,
she's a vindictive bitch.
In God terms, keep this in mind. Her husband was a fucking Olympian class philanderer, and she was the goddess of fidelity.
I know.
So she had a problem with all these
and his
bastard children.
And his sister.
Well, that too. Yeah. His older sister, because he was the youngest of 6.
Yeah. I love Greek mythology. I love it. But that it's not a bad movie. It is a fun movie, but I hate it because
Danny DeVito was pretty good in it. I liked him.
Danny DeVito is always good. Danny DeVito.
It shouldn't have been a satyr. That should have been Chiron the centaur, but whatever.
But then again, it's supposed to be Danny DeVito, so let's make a midget. So, all right. Then we're at the last two. Mulan. I like Mulan.
Mulan's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
Also historically inaccurate, but it's a good movie.
Yeah, massively inaccurate. But you got Eddie Murphy voice acting, I think, for the very first time. I don't think he'd voice acted anything before being Little Dragon Dude.
Yeah, no. And then the next thing he does is a donkey who fucks a dragon.
I hate Shrek. I hate that entire franchise.
Yeah, fair enough. But also not Disney. But yeah, no, Mulan is a solid fucking movie, though. It's it's got a very good, very classic, very relatable story. And Ming Na, I think, voices her, and she was really, really good in that. That was also towards the beginning of when she started getting famous too. That she was still pretty young at the time.
She was also on ER at the time, or she had just been on ER.
Yeah, and she was kind of up and coming. I've actually never had even when she's in shitty things that I hate, I don't really ever have a problem with Ming Na's work ever.
Yeah, I mean, she's completely bland in Star Wars, but her character is bland, so
that's not her fault.
Yeah. Just like So I mean, I like Mulan. I did watch it when I did my rewatch last year, and it's a fun movie. Good songs, happy story, and you can, and it's how, just like with other parts of Renaissance Disney, that's how you can do a strong female character without making her just the women's the destroyer. And it works. And then, of course, the final entry into Disney, Renaissance Disney, the end of the 10-year period, 89 to 99, Tarzan. I like Tarzan. Don't love it, but I like it.
It's okay.
I like the whole. I like the whole Legend of Greystoke. I do like that whole type of stuff.
Sure.
But
I think they again with the Disney sanitization, man,
yeah.
all of the edge that's in Burroughs' stories is absent in this movie. All of it. I don't particularly have any real issues with any of it. I think Phil Collins did a standout job on the fucking music. But beyond that, it's okay. It's fine. But again,
it's fine.
You know, like I said, completely fucking sanitized. It's same thing they did with all of the ones that we mentioned. They're all very, very fucking sanitized. And all of the original stories, actually, now that I think about it, end very badly.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like in reality, Mulan was a real chick. She really did a lot of that shit. There was no talking dragon, of course, as far as we know. But she also was at the end, even though she saved her country and she saved, you know, the emperor and all that stuff, he was still bound by law, and it was illegal for women to impersonate men and join the military. And because she did this, she had committed a crime and was put to death because of it. They fucking executed her publicly over it, and the emperor didn't want to do it, but he was bound by the fucking law, and he couldn't make an exception.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Like I said, they all end badly. You know, when Heracles in the myths actually meets Nessus the centaur, yeah, he kills the centaur, but the centaur's blood poisons him, and that's how he dies.
The thing is, I mean, and the whole thing about Hercules is that he does then eventually ascend to Olympus, and he's there to help defend it in its one of its final hours of need.
Yeah, well, I mean, Zeus reaches down and puts him in the stars as a constellation right alongside like Orion and those guys, but so that he'll live forever, even though he's, you know, not really alive anymore. But yeah, like it's still like all of these end badly. Fucking Hunchback of Notre Dame, the Hunchback and Esmeralda and Rollo all take a little tumble off the top of that cathedral, and none of them get back up again.
Well, this is the whole thing of Disneyfication. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it's too much. They do it too often. I mean, some of these movies, in my opinion, should not have been made. I mean, I think you can get away with Little Mermaid because it's complete mythology. But you start doing stuff like the Mulan, you're altering the history, as I didn't know it was altered history. I didn't know that. And that doesn't sit well with me. Hunchback of Notre Dame, that should not have been made into a children's movie. It should not have been.
Agreed. A hard agree. Yeah.
Pocahontas isn't worthy of being a story told, in my opinion. It's just not. And everything else is fine. I mean, yeah, granted, they sanitized Tarzan, but I can understand making that a little more campy because it has been done in the past too.
Yeah, it's you won't see a lot outside of like comic books and whatnot, and like novels. You're not going to see a whole lot of that being taken very seriously, with one exception, when Christopher Lambert played him in The Legend of Greystoke.
That is an incredible movie.
Yeah.
That was really good. I will always remember the scene of the dude who decides the old I think isn't it played by who's it played by? I forget I forget to play character suddenly. Can't remember. When he decides to go down the staircase on the tray and dies. Go sliding down the staircase on a silver tray and then dies. I can never get that scene out of my mind. It's just there.
Yeah,
it's there in my head.
The one that stands out for me is when they're at the dinner table and it's like his first time in high society, and he's got this fucking collar on, he's itching to tear off and stuff, and they keep asking him, these high society British folks keep asking him like, oh, what was it like in the jungle? Oh, show us some of your impressions of the animals. So he starts making like actual animal sounds. It scares the shit out of all of them.
I also remember the scene where he finds the older gorillas in the captivity there, and he just is brokenhearted at them being old and dying like that. That's a great movie.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, you forget that Christopher Lambert can be a really good actor when he's not doing cheesy shit.
Yeah, but he's so good at the cheesy shit, man.
Yeah. Fortress. Have you ever seen Fortress 1 and 2?
I might have a long time ago. I don't recall.
Fortress One is basically it's a dystopian world where there are essentially limitations on who can have children and stuff like that in
Mm.
America, and people are trying to flee to Canada where they can have free children, like whatever. This is '90s. I'm not going to even try and dissect why they're doing that then. Um, and him and his wife get busted on the border trying to get to Canada, and she's pregnant, and because they had their one child and it died, so that was it, and they get busted and sent to this super max prison that is essentially underground,
Hmm.
and there's no way out because of the technology and this and that. And of course, he figures out how to get out, and him and his wife get away and they get free. Then in the second one, the second Fortress movie, that one is sort of still a little grounded because you're on the ground. In the second one, he gets recruited to liberate people from a fortress in space. It's a space station.
Wow, they did the whole go to space went at the death of the franchise trope way early.
They just went. It's like Fortress 2. It's in space.
It's like Hellraiser and Leprechaun both took at least 4 movies to get to that point.
Oh God, Leprechaun 3. I actually I saw the first one, not into horror movies. Like, yeah, I'm not liking this, not going to bother this anymore. But then, of course, this is during the '90s, and I watched a lot of Home Improvement, and Debbie Dunning was Heidi on Home Improvement with her incredible body, and I heard she was going to be in Leprechaun 3, and I thought, oh, dude, chicks get naked in horror movies. Debbie Dunning's going to take her tits out, and I was so disappointed.
Yeah. If I remember right, the only tits I remember even in that whole franchise were when that guy was hallucinating that there were tits in front of him, and it turned out to be a big fucking fan, and he just walks his face into this fan, and it just
Dude,
shreds him.
I wouldn't know. I have no knowledge. I have no memory or knowledge of
I
movies.
think
All
that's
I
the
know
second
is
one. Yeah.
I don't know. All I know is that I watched part of Leprechaun 3 until Debbie Dunning died. I'm like, well, okay.
Yeah.
I'm out. I
But,
was here for one thing.
and then after that movie, they did one in space.
Jeez.
It was called literally the title of the movie, Leprechaun 4 in Space.
The era of direct to VHS. It
I
wasn't
know,
even
right?
directed and direct. It was just direct to VHS. There was no DVDs or nothing. It's like,
They just called it home video at the time.
yeah,
But
home
yeah.
video, direct to home video, going right to the Blockbuster. Dude, I can't tell you the years spent as a kid just, and you'll understand this, renting the B movies
Mhm.
that were only in the movie store. I mean, that makes up a large library of my movie watching as a kid, just renting one
Oh,
movie
yeah.
after another. And of course, my mom didn't care. It's like, okay, yeah, here, you can rent this. It's fine. Whatever. You've proven stable to watch crazy movies, and you're a teenager. You can see tits on a screen. I'm not going to forget. In fact, I'm happy you like tits on a screen. So keep watching them. Um, so uh, it that was a weird era where it was the era where everything knew its place, and you look at it now, and everybody knew if something went straight to DVD, straight to home video. I want to say Blu-ray DVD, straight to home video back then. It was going to be lower quality. The acting was going to be subpar. The script was going to be dog shit, but it would be somewhat entertaining. And it was relegated to its spot. You knew what it was. Streaming movies are essentially straight to home video movies, but they're treated like real movies, and they shouldn't be. They really should not be.
Yeah. Well, this kind of goes back to an earlier time too, where we had really dog shit movies, right? And we
Mhm,
had really, really great fucking like, for lack of a better term, AAA movies.
mhm,
Um, and there was a whole massive swath of in between movies.
mhm.
We don't have that anymore.
No,
The in between shit, the middle class of moviedom has been eradicated.
you're right.
And that's sad because
Yeah.
there was a lot of great stuff in there.
And a lot of that happened because you had the original version in the theater, the big one.
Mhm.
And then they would spin off 2 and 3 and 4 straight to home movie.
Yeah.
And some of them, and they were what they were, and we enjoyed them for what they were.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to. I know if I give it a second here, I can think of a series that fit that bill very easy. If I just give it a second here,
I mean,
have to go way, way back in the memory machine here.
yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, I brought up Hellraiser. I brought up the in space thing, and in the fourth Hellraiser movie, Hellraiser Bloodline,
Yep.
a good chunk of it takes place on a space station. Now, it's not like it goes through like several centuries of timeline here, but a good chunk of it, and the climax of the movie takes place in space. It was not well received, and it was the last movie in that franchise, including the reboot, to ever air in theater or to ever see a theater screen.
You see, I rented it. I didn't see it in the theater. I rented it, and I realized, wow, I didn't enjoy this at all.
I mean, I did, but no, it's a thing.
Well, I mean, I like my favorite one is Hellraiser 2. That's my favorite one.
Yeah, that was good. That was
That's
really
my
good.
favorite one. Hellraiser 3 is interesting because one, a young Terry Farrell in that one, a young Terry Farrell.
See, here's where I would disagree because Hellraiser 3 is objectively a more shit movie than Hellraiser 4 is.
Well, no. I say I like it because it's an interesting thing where you have the split personality.
Yeah, they had some good ideas in it.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It was interesting,
and they were trying
concept,
to build on what they did in the climax of 2, which is actually probably the last time they tried to have any kind of real continuity in that series too. By the way,
oh yeah.
But the actual execution of it, Doug Bradley's performance aside, because he's always awesome, was not great. It was a complete fucking departure from pretty much everything.
Oh yeah, I agree. The horror aspect was virtually absent in the entire movie.
And you get to 4, and 4 actually has like a cohesive story. It's not just a bunch of like random shit happening with Terry Farrell in the middle of it. There is a follow through. There is a beginning and middle and an end, and it, love it or hate it, it's objectively a better movie than the third one is. You'd think the third one would be the one that would have knocked him out of theaters forever.
It did for a long time, though. It did knock him out for a long time. There was a large gap between 3 and Bloodlines.
Well, Bloodline came out in 1994. 3 came out in 1991.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
It wasn't that long. Yeah.
I guess because I'm in high school, everything's kind of blurry at that point. I guess.
Yeah.
I felt like there was a longer gap.
No, there was a longer gap between 4 and 5. 5 came out, I think, in 1998 or 9.
By then, I didn't care anymore.
Yeah, it was like 4 or 5 years before they saw another one, and this was after the Weinsteins had purchased the property, but just before Dimension got a hold of it. Either way, Disney was still the fucking owner at the time. And again, fun fact: Pinhead has been a Disney princess on 3 separate occasions in history.
Oh Lord!
And is currently.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
See, now what I love most about Hellraiser, I always am fascinated by the puzzle box. I love the idea of the puzzle box as a hell. I love it. In fact, I've incorporated in some stuff. I can't use it anymore. I have to alter it and change it to something else. But I love the idea of the puzzle box.
Yeah, it was a really inspired idea that Barker had.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because have you ever read any of his work?
No.
Okay. I think you would probably like some of his later novels because they tend towards more the grand epic dark fantasy than they do horror. A little bit of surrealism in there too, like kind of like Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Some of it gets really weird, but the earlier horror stories are where I started out with him, and these were short stories, and they were some of the most innovative and creative ideas I have ever seen came out of that guy early on in his career.
Clive Barker was great, dude. He was great.
Yeah,
and he was one of the guys. I want to say he knew when to stop. I feel like he knew when to stop. Am I right with that, or am I wrong?
I would say he had a tendency to stop things before they were fucking completed. Personally,
okay, that's fair. That's fair.
There's a couple of books that he wrote a while back. The Great and Secret Show, which is one of my personal favorite novels of all fucking time. which is known as the first book of the art. The second book of the art is a book he wrote called Everville, which ties into it sort of, but it kind of sort of feels like a dry run for a later novel he did called Imagica, which is not related to this at all, weirdly. And he never wrote the long-awaited and expected third book of the art because it was a trilogy. There are only 2 books that exist because he never wrote the fucking third one. He's dying, by the way, so it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, or he wrote a novel called Galilee that was really kind of an intriguing look at. It was basically about a feud between 2 families in like the Carolinas. One of those families was sort of a Rockefeller Kennedy-esque, kind of like very heavy on the old money and the political power and all that stuff, and the other family were actually immortal.
Oh, okay.
And it was about an ongoing feud between them. And right at the end of the book, not to give too much away, it's gearing up towards a final confrontation between the 2 of them, and it just ends. There's no more. He never wrote the fucking follow-up.
Damn.
So no, I think sometimes he has a tendency to just. This is why his short stories are so good, is because they're concise and they're all there. You know, some of his bigger novels, he leaves way too much off. Like he just kind of doesn't finish them. Some of them he does. Some of them he does really, really well with. I would recommend The Damnation Game or Sacrament or Weave World or even Imagica, which is a very big book. You know, but like the book of the art, as long as you're not expecting a third part to that, which you should be, because it kind of is completely set up for that, you'll be okay. But with Galilee pissed me the fuck off, and I actually stopped buying his books for years after that. And eventually I did get a more recent one that he'd been promising us for like 20 fucking years called The Scarlet Gospels. It eventually did finally come out. Right. Been talking about it for years and years and years. And essentially what the premise was behind that, because he hated everything that Hollywood did with his characters in Hellraiser. That's why he wrote and directed the first one. He directed the second one and had some producerial credits on that. He still had his name attached to the third one. And after that, you won't see his name attached to anything except based on characters created by.
That's when you know something is lost, when it says based on.
So after the third movie, he hated fucking everything that they did with Pinhead and with the world and all of that stuff. And so his intention was to go back once he was able to do so. His intention was to go back and write a story in which Harry D'Amour, the paranormal detective from Lord of Illusions, who's also in Everville and a bunch of his other stories.
I recently watched that movie.
Yeah,
that movie's fucked up.
Read the story of The Last Illusion. It's way better. But it's okay. The movie's okay, but and if you're gonna watch that, watch the director's cut because it's much more coherent. But that character, Harry D'Amour, the one that Scott Bakula plays, major character, shows up in a bunch of his other works, and he goes to hell to face off with the Hell Priest or Pinhead in a final climactic confrontation. The whole point was he was going to kill off that version of Pinhead because fuck Hollywood and fuck everybody who loved him, essentially. So I finally read that book. The prologue is incredible.
Okay.
The rest of the book is somebody edited this thing with a fucking meat cleaver.
Oof.
Right. It is chopped to shit. There are whole chunks where it feels like entire sections of the book are just missing.
That's why editors are worthless, dude. Editors are fucking worthless, man.
It feels like a 1,000-page book that got cut down to 300.
That's disappointing.
I'm sorry. And it was horrendous. It was there are a couple of points in it that I really enjoyed, but for the most part, I would recommend read the prologue because it's Pinhead being Pinhead and just fucking gloriously awesome. After that, the book sucks. It's terrible.
I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah, I was 20 fucking years we waited for this.
That sucks, man.
Yeah.
That sucks. Well, we're at the end of the show. How's that for a stream of conscious? We start with cartoons, Disney, and end with Hellraiser.
I mean, it's technically under the same umbrella. Disney owns Hulu. Hulu is
still,
contracted with Hellraiser. It's
that's that. This is why this show is called The Stream of Conscious. We have no idea where it's going to go. I had originally planned an entirely different question to ask you to start things off, and that got left in the dust an hour ago.
Now you know how all of my Saturday shows go.
Oh man, because I was gonna build off our conversation in the green room. I was like, okay, I'll go from here. But like, nope. We just started on something different, which is why this show is exactly what it is, the Stream of Conscious. All right, Sam, what you got this week going on?
I got to get back on the game stream theme. It's at some point. I'm not sure where I'm going to go with this. I do need to continue with Blood Omen, but I'm really pissed off at it right now. There's been something weird going on with one of the bosses I'm stuck on, and the dude just won't fucking die. And I hit him a lot. So like there's something wrong with the program, I think. And it is a port too, so you never know. There might be a glitch in there. Or maybe I just suck. I don't know. It could be that either. But anyway, eventually I need to get back to that. But I think I might start streaming Fallout 4 here at some point soon, just because I can. I know it's a shit Fallout game, but it is a fun game.
It's the only one I ever played. So
yeah.
I never finished it. I never finished it.
New Vegas is a far better game, and it was made not by Bethesda, which is
that's the conversation. We're gonna get that conversation when the second season of the live action comes out. Right. It's gonna boil up again, and I'm not looking forward to it because it's gonna be annoying.
So I'm thinking about starting that up. I've got an Oddworld game I've never played. I'm thinking about starting up too, and so I don't know. I might work out a schedule where like I play a different game on different nights, as opposed to just playing one all the way through. I'm not sure where I'm going to go with that now, but there will be game streams at some point this week. Probably not tonight. No. Tonight I have to go play Monster Hunter.
But I already did that today. I'm moving on to Final Fantasy 14 when we're done here.
So,
all right.
Otherwise, I got Abyssal Musings coming up on Friday. Beyond Beelzebub after that, and Screaming into the Void on Saturday. So
all right. As for me, everybody, you know the drill here, guys. See you guys tomorrow on the Daily Dive, as well as Final Fantasy Tactics, Evilise Chronicles tomorrow night. We'll get a session in on that. Otherwise, thank you everybody for joining us today. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us for essentially just an hour of chill, random conversation. We'll see you guys next time. Take it easy, everybody.
Bye.